Hello and welcome to the very first episode of my podcast, The Inclusion Effect. I'm Anna and I'm here to talk with guests and with you all about disability advocacy, inclusion, and the ups and downs of navigating a world that frankly is not built for the disability community. For the first episode, I wanted to just kind of chat with y'all, introduce myself, talk about my story, my family story, and explain how I got here and where I'd like this podcast to go. So while you're listening, feel free to think about things that you'd like me to discuss and people that you'd like me to talk with in the future, whether that's you, let me know, comment and let me know, or whether that's an influencer, or whether it's Miss Rachel. Follow my TikTok if you don't know how my husband's Delulu and is my biggest fan. I think it's like a bag Miss Rachel. Yeah, my TikToks are at The Inclusion Effect and also at Uplife of Addie. I do also have an Instagram at The Inclusion Effect. I'm not nearly as good at keeping up there, but I'll work on it. So I'll just go ahead and start with talking about my family and how I ended up here. So my name is Anna. Like I said, I am 32. I'm about to be 33 in a couple days. I am a mom, a stepmom, a dog mom, a friend, a sister. I live in Oregon. I have 3 kids. One is my stepdaughter. I have 3 dogs. I have my husband and I here. We've been married. We're about to have our 5th wedding anniversary. And we're just doing the thing here, trying our best to get through every day-to-day life. It's chaotic, it's beautiful, and I love it. I'm really passionate about everything I'm talking about on TikTok and now here on my podcast. So we have my 10-year-old stepdaughter. I've been in her life since she was the cutest little toddler. Before her, I didn't even know if I wanted kids, but I met my husband. He immediately told me how they're a package deal, and I fell in love with her immediately. She peed on me one of the first times I met her. I didn't immediately freak out. I'm pretty proud of myself for that because I was like 25 at the time and had no experience with kids. But yeah, I loved her. And then we had my son Liam in 2021. We eloped in 2020 actually because of the pandemic. We had the most beautiful elopement. And then we had my son Liam in 2021. So Liam actually, for a lot of parents, would be considered a pretty chaotic medical baby if Addie didn't pale him in comparison. So Liam, he did a few days in the NICU. It was nothing crazy. He just needed a little bit of help with his sugars and with jaundice, And so we noticed that he really didn't cry much. He would hold his breath. And at first that wasn't that big of a deal. We talked to our pediatrician about it. But the pediatrician had us go see ENT, and ENT said nothing was physically wrong. So we were like, okay, well, whatever. But by the time he was like 9 months old, it was getting a lot worse. He was holding his breath to the point where he turned blue. He was passing out. It was wild. His lips were blue, and it was freaking everybody out. And then the week he turned 1, he held his breath, passed out, and had a seizure. We went to the ER. The hospital didn't take us very seriously. They told us to come back if it happened again. We went back to the emergency department 3 more times in the next couple days because he kept having seizures. So anyways, we did a whole lot of research. We talked to lots and lots of doctors, neurology. We did an MRI. He wore a heart monitor, all the things. But we found out that he just had really severe breath holding spells. They got a lot worse as he got older. He was having 6 to 10 seizures a day. He would hold his breath, pass out in one of our arms, whoever was with him, and then have a seizure. It was terrifying. We did get him on some seizure meds. That helped that. But we did have to just continue with him holding his breath until, the last one was just a couple months ago, but they're really rare now. Before the one that was a couple months ago, the one before that was February. He very rarely has breath holding spells anymore. Basically, everybody we saw told us that that's something that happens to some kids. It just happens and they grow out of it. He also has an anaphylactic food allergies and lots of less severe allergies as well to things like grass and dairy. His anaphylactic allergy is eggs. And we found that out in the hospital with my youngest daughter. So my youngest daughter is Addie. She was born in May 2022. They are just 15 months apart. And we found out in pregnancy that Addie has Down syndrome. We found out very early on. We did the NIPT test, and we were just wanting to get the sex of it so we could have a gender reveal, all those things. And we found out that we were having a baby girl and that she had Down syndrome. Yeah. So our diagnosis story will be something I'll talk about in a future episode for sure. We were really scared. We sat on the bed crying. I remember it very clearly. But we immediately started Googling things, and we knew we were going to keep her. We were asked quite a few times about abortion, terminating. That's also something I'll talk about in a future episode more in depth. But we knew we were going to keep her. We knew that we wanted her, that we could handle this, that we had supports in place, that we could do this. And I still stand by that decision. So we made an announcement, told everybody to get your questions out. We don't want to hear anything bad. We set some boundaries, and we went on with our pregnancy, and Addie was born. and Addie needed help pretty much immediately. She had a heart defect that we did know about in utero, but it was a little bit more severe than we had expected. When she was born, she spent 2 weeks in the NICU, which really is not that long of a time. But she came home and we couldn't get her to latch. She was kind of suckling from bottles. We tried lots of different bottles, but had failure to thrive. So we ended up back in the hospital repeatedly over the next couple of months. And then when Addie was 3 months old, she started getting really sick. Again, I'll talk about this more in depth in a future podcast, but she ended up going into heart failure, liver failure, and respiratory failure. We had to be life flighted up to the Children's Hospital a few hours away from here in Portland, and she did end up having a cardiac arrest. Those are some of the worst days of my life, and my husband's as well. We saw it all happen. We saw them perform the full code on her and everything, and she did live in that PICU for quite a while. She's doing much better now. She did suffer a traumatic brain injury from that. We've also learned about other diagnoses, and we're still discovering the mystery that is Addie. We always joke that she collects rare diagnoses like she's collecting Pokemon cards. So, whatever throws at us, we can handle. But with all of that and everything that's happened since then, I've really found my voice in advocating loudly and proudly for my kids. Being a stepmom, being a food allergy and seizure mom, being a Down syndrome mom, being a heart mom, all these things that people think sound so scary and big and hard. It's something that we handle, and it's something that we can get through, and it's something that we face every single day. And as a team, my husband and I deal with it, and we get our kids what they need. And it's not always easy at all. I'm the biggest crybaby. I post about that all the time if you follow me on TikTok. I love to cry. I will cry if you look at me sideways, I swear to God. And I handle the stress by watching bad reality TV a lot of the times too. I post about it a lot. I think that's really cathartic. I love getting it out. But most importantly, I deal with it by advocating loudly for my kids. Doctors, insurance, therapists, jerks online that have stuff to say, jerks at the park that have stuff to say, parents that use the R word in front of my children, on and on and on and on. I will advocate for my kids. I have always been very loud. I've always been very talkative. I don't think I've shut up in my 32 years of life, quite frankly. And that is something that's really benefited me on this journey. I'm very good at getting organized, calling the people that we need, knowing all of Addie's healthcare stuff, knowing all the kids' healthcare stuff, but Addie has quite a bit more than the other two kids, and being able to communicate in emergency situations to doctors what they need and what my daughter needs and what is going on. Actually, from all of this, I discovered that I really did love healthcare. Doctors kept asking me, do you work in healthcare? And I kept saying no. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, crap, maybe I should. I did quit my job when Addie was born in marketing. And so this was something that seemed plausible to me, So I became a CNA, and I am now going back to school for my accelerated BSN and to become an RN. I am really excited about that. I am busy and exhausted a lot of the time with 3 kids and school and everything else that's going on. But it's something that I also am passionate about, and it's something that I think will make me a better advocate, a better mom, a better person, because I am a better person when I'm out of the house working a little bit. Honestly, that's something that I've discovered about myself. So yeah, that's a little bit of our backstory. I guess I'll talk about now how I want this podcast to go, how I foresee it. I hope to have guests on most podcast episodes. I plan on having a lot of my social media mutual friends on here, a lot of my friends in real life on here, and then I'd love to have some self-advocates that are able to loudly and proudly advocate for themselves on as well. So I want to go ahead and talk about current events that are happening that are relevant to the disability world and disability community. I want to go ahead and have a guest on to talk about who they're advocating for, what that person's disability is, what the ins and outs of their lives look like, and how they advocate, what they find challenging, their personal stories and journeys, how they navigated the diagnoses, education and advocacy, how they find community. Everything, really. I want to get into it. I want to get into the trenches. I want to talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I want to talk about what's really hard. I want to talk about what's really great. I want to talk about all the rewarding moments, because the rewarding moments are so big and so rewarding. And I know everybody that loves somebody with a disability or has a disability and hits those milestones knows it is the best feeling. It's amazing. There's nothing better. It's the sweetest thing. And if you don't get an experience that in your life, I'm so sorry. So yeah, I want to talk about all of these things, and I really want to make this just a community of people that love to advocate, love their person with a disability or themselves with a disability, and want to shout that to the world. I really want to raise awareness and reduce stigma. I really hate when people treat disability like it's a dirty word. That is a big pet peeve of mine. I want to really help us move towards a world where things are more inclusive and people aren't afraid to talk about disabilities in public and be loud and proud about them. So, yeah, if that's something you're interested in, I hope you follow my podcast. I hope you give me 5 stars. I hope that you follow my TikToks, my Instagram. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know all the things. All the things, guys. Let me know. Come on. I'm open to this. This is brand new to me. This podcast probably will suck at first. I've got to get used to it. I've got to learn and grow and get better. But I would love all the support and help in the world, and that comes from you guys. So, yeah, I really want to grow this. I really want to talk about this. And I think that with the help of all the amazing advocates I know, this will be a great, great success. Yeah. So go ahead and be sure to follow me on TikTok and Instagram. Follow the podcast wherever you're listening. Give me 5 stars and have an inclusive, awesome week. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.